Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Megabasing 101. As always, I am joined by these two guys.
Greetings.
Hey.
Wrong one! I think he has that copyrighted, doesn't he?
Hello.
Hello. So we're doing some more smelter work. Last time we kind of stood there and talked a bit and didn't do a lot, and we rediscussed. And we're changing the train size a little bit, which Zuri and Mojo should explain a bit more into that because there are quite a few questions in regards to that. And we're actually going to be building stuff and try to make it try to find a good balance between like let's play and actually doing stuff rather than just standing around talking the whole time. So let's get to it. We've changed to 373 ore trains, and we're still going to do our 252 plate trains. But if you guys want to explain kind of the odd train length thing and then why we switched from 393 to 373.
Oh, well, yeah, the stations need to be an odd number apart. So to do that, you need, if the train links are even, the train links have to be, I'm just going to say mod 4 equal 2, if that makes any sense to you at all.
Not really, but...
All right, so if the train links are 6, and you try to center them together, the train links need to be either 4, 8, 12, yeah, and like that. And if they're odd, like they're 7, they need to be, let's see, mod 4 equals 0. So, the same length, 7 or 11 or 3, etc.
Right, so the reason for the odd length trains is because, of course I don't have a station, because we're going to have these trains pulling in from different directions, so this guy comes in this way and the other guy comes in the other way, and yeah, you need odd length trains for them to actually line up. You can see these cargo wagons actually line up with each other, and
There's a train stop you can scoop up.
oh, thanks. And then yeah, we went to 7 instead of 9 because that makes them line up better. I think I'm still I think I understand because the difference needs to be an even number.
Yeah.
I believe.
Probably the best example of it is to step over to this train stop that's already here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hover the train stop over the second wagon back, you'll see that it's always off by a tile. But then if you move to the third loco back, you'll see that the outline of the train then lines up perfectly over the top of the existing train stop.
I think I see what you mean.
Yeah, so a train itself is 6, or a loco wagon and fluid wagon, they're 6 tiles long,
Mm-hmm.
plus, I guess you could say a half either side, making them 7 total. And because the train stops and all the train components are tied to a 2x2 grid, if you go one wagon back, it falls out by a tile because of that 7th tile from the first loco length to account for the gap between the trains. And so you have to incorporate 2 locos, which is 14 tiles in length total, and it puts it back on the same grid.
This is the most compact way you can visualize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
A train length of 1.
Yeah. So they're both equal pretty much here. So yeah, so that's the reason for that, and we're going to just continue here. I guess while we build this, one last thing is people were asking about like what makes a train too long, because people were saying like, why don't you just go like 4/16/4, or why can't I just make trains that are 20 wagons long? And it kind of comes into two things. first off is like your outposting is, you want to actually be able to have a train kind of work with your outposts like size wise, and then also your smelting. If you're doing like any bot based smelting, having your train way bigger than your smelter, it's just going to cause a lot of issues. And if you try to scale a smelter to like a 416.4, it's just going to cause more issues because it's going to be massive and the bots are going to hate you.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to bot lag. There's also, it becomes a problem with actual railway network design because you have to accommodate trains of that size between in your junctions.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Zuri is doing. We actually showed this on a workshop with one of the smelting things. This way of even unloading here.
Should I design this for iron to start off with?
Yeah, sure.
Because we're gonna need power to do that. Because you can't set logistic conditions for bots unless there's a port.
Which I find a little bit silly, but
Oh, hey, we have power.
woohoo! Some. Oh yeah, we had a major power crisis.
I'll just move that pole out of the way.
Once you get those set, I'll blueprint it and we can just stamp it down.
At some point, we should probably add a power switch to the steam so we don't burn coal constantly.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. Okay, so you set all these to if ore is less than or equal to 0 in the whole network, they can unload. And that has, this works because I believe, once ore hits 0, that means that all the requesters will have like claimed ore from the network and will have it in the requesters for the smelters, and then all these should swing at once.
Well, these three in the middle
Yeah.
swing.
Yeah, these three in the middle.
Two on the outside edge are just constantly unloading.
Yeah, they just fill up the
They'll
boxes.
always try and fill those wooden boxes. Oh, wooden boxes.
Of course, we're out
Is
of
there a
wood
forest
boxes.
nearby? I'll go craft some.
Oh, jeez.
I think we can all manage.
Do I like not have ports?
I'm willing to bet we didn't automate wooden boxes, did we?
No, it wasn't high on the priority list, I must admit. There we go. We'll get the power of handcrafting on it.
Yes. All right, so we got that, and then so this is for the unloading. I don't think we're gonna do the same thing for loading. I don't think it really even works for loading since you can't tie
No,
wagons to logistics networks.
It doesn't really work for the loading end. You got to use just requester chests with enough to load a full wagon.
Yeah, and if we want to get a little bit more in depth here, just quickly, a lot of times you'll see, and I did this for the longest time, you'll see just like this. And for things like this, you don't need nearly this much insertion. Like, you need to math, if you want to reduce it, you need to math it out for however much like plate you're producing to make sure you can insert it quick enough. But inserters are actually like really high up there on like taking game performance. I think they're like right under like bots if you're doing like a bot based megabase typically. So
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where they were on the list, but they're somewhere around 4th or 5th, I think.
they're pretty high. So reducing inserters is actually fairly important. So rather than just like going full out 6 inserters, which you definitely do not need for this, you can reduce this by quite a lot.
But also, when you do this, you end up in the situation where one wagon is waiting to fill and all the others are already full.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then that wagon is also starved of materials because all these other requested chests are filling at the same rate as the ones which are lagging behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm trying to think, how much output will this have? Didn't we figure like 20,000 or something?
Oh yeah, calculations are completely wrong.
Yeah, we messed it. I messed it up because I calculated like total ore, and that was counting steel and stuff. which is going to be a separate build.
Yeah, I was actually thinking it in mind, and for some reason I thought it was correct as well. I think I was thinking of a different base number, like 1,600 or 2,000 per minute. It's actually the iron plate we need is around 82,000 per minute, I think it was.
Just pure plate, not for steel.
Removing the steel requirement.
Okay. Zuri, you're killing me. Does this not bother you? Having these all misaligned like that?
No.
Oh.
Okay, look at it. Look, it's the same because it's staggered the entire way down.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Okay. I'll just not look at that.
Alrighty then, 'cause it doesn't bother me at all.
Now, do we really need double-sided on this? Because, I mean, it's 3 inserters, essentially, unloading.
Well, 2 really. The middle ones on both sides only kick on when the logistics is empty.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, you're right, because normally it would just be 1. Okay. Alright, so, if we need, like, 82,000 plate, if we had, like, 4 smelters, that'd be, like, 20,500. Is that too much, maybe, per smelter? I don't know.
It'd be the upper limit is what I'd do.
Because bringing in a 7-wagon thing of ore, that may actually not be enough.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'd struggle for maintaining that production rate.
Because that's like, what, 14,000 ore?
Yeah.
We don't want to go...
So what I normally try and aim for is try and get the train rate, so how much it can deliver per minute to about 1. So if this train carries 14,000 ore, so I'd want that, around 40 seconds to a bit over a minute. So what would that be for this train?
We do not...
Yeah?
Just basic, I think, math is we probably don't want to have a smelter that does more than, like, 14,500 or 15,000. Because anything above that is going to need an ore train in faster than every minute.
So it's for 20,000 ore and 14,000 coming in, it's about 42 seconds per train that needs to come through, and that's the worst case. So 42 seconds, the current train that's in there has to finish unloading, clear it, and then the next one has to come in and start unloading, and that's right just on the point where the smelter is just running out of ore and coming back in again. And that also doesn't account for the smelting that's happening while it's unloading.
Yeah, that might be pushing it.
And so in practical terms, it's probably closer to 25 to 30 seconds per train.
There's no way we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We'll just make the smelter smaller, I guess.
And that's where you would reduce it to 16,000 or 14,000 per minute, because now it's closer to 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
You have much more time to work with. You could make it even slower, but the other thing that we're changing is also we still need a fixed number of furnaces running at 9.4 craft speed. And so if we're taking furnaces out of here, they have to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you slow down the builds, or if you slow down the standard builds, you got to put that furnace somewhere else, so you make the build bigger overall. So you need more builds overall, I should say.
Yeah, I'm fine with the more builds overall, actually.
So if we calibrated it to take in a train every minute, which would be 14,000 ore a minute, that gives us like 16.8 thousand plate a minute, which wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That would require like 5 or 6 smelters. 5, pretty much.
Yep.
And
And then we got the steel as well to do.
So
I would almost also, just on that, I would almost think about doing 3 long, if that's possible, for steel trains. Reduce the size a little bit, or maybe just filter the wagons, because the steel trains can sit for quite a long time loading. I think I can only remember the numbers from the sim map because they're the only ones that I really looked at in detail, where the train takes 5 minutes to load the steel.
yeah. Okay, so just again to clarify, the reason I've only done 2 requesters here because if we're outputting like 17,000 plate a minute, you don't need to load these trains fat. Like 2 inserters per wagon is actually more than enough to load the 17,000 plate you get in a minute into a train with 5 wagons. So it's kind of just a waste of game performance to put like a ton more inserters here.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sure, you could load a train faster, but your smelter is still limited at that 17,000 or whatever. So it doesn't matter if you're loading the train in 10 seconds if the smelter can only output, you know, a set amount per minute, then it doesn't really help.
If I was to put some numbers to it, so from the Factorio wiki, an inserter chest to chest moves 27.7 items per second, a stack inserter fully upgraded.
Yep.
And that is 1,662 items per minute. And that's just one. So that one of these requesters to the cargo wagon is 1,662 per minute. And then you double that, 3,324. And that's per wagon, multiplied by 5. You're now 16,620 items per minute, which is pretty well equal to the smelter that we're building.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to be safe, we could add like a third one even, but you certainly don't need 6.
Yeah.
To make the math easier, I recommend 4.
The math for what? Just in general?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for setting the actual requests.
Yeah, because then you can just do. Let's see. These guys hold 4 times for.
4 times 10
4,000.
times stack size.
Yeah. Okay.
So 4 chests gives you 10 times stack size, which is 1,000 each.
Right. Yeah, because the wagons can hold 4,000 plate.
All right. So this device worked correctly, and this is how I was planning on controlling where the trains can go.
Ooh, smarts. All right. So this is simply just a
Smartamagy.
turning station on and off type of deal.
Yep, that's exactly what it does. It detects when there's a train there. I was thinking about doing it with signal detection and other means like that. I wanted to make sure there was at least, 1 or 2 game ticks between the train arriving and turning the station off so the train doesn't get lost. And it sits there in no path and doesn't actually stop.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually seen this before with the previous playthrough. We started doing this on the, what was it, the Mad Science build.
It works pretty
Started
well.
experimenting with it. Yeah, it's really nice. Because as soon as this train stop turns off, any train pathing to it's no longer valid, so it has to find a new path instantly, and so you don't have to wait for that 5 seconds.
Yeah, or 30 seconds depending on a hard path reset. So any trains in the stacker will automatically seek out a new path.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, just a side note with that, I did check up on that. There's only the 5-second repath. There's no soft and hard Oh, there sort of is soft and hard repathing, but not quite the way it's possibly been explained. So there's a hard repath where the train calculates its journey, but it only does that when it starts the journey leaving a station or at a chain signal. And then there's the 5-second repath, which just checks to make sure its path is still valid. So like if you pulled up a track or something.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Or
they
turned up-
recently changed that, didn't they?
Yeah, that was one of the things with 15. So that 30-second repath that we classically had to deal with in version 12, 13, and 14, that's now 5 seconds. And then there was some other stuff done with chain signals where it does a full repath if it sits there for long enough.
I guess we don't really know how many roboports we're going to need right now because we don't know how many bots this is actually going to take.
I was guesstimating here. Usually it's a portion of this.
Well, we'll start with the width of the ore train cargo wagons and see how we go. So we need to actually work out how many smelters we need again.
Okay, well that... I think I calculated... about 74, I think. Let's see, so
That's not bad.
we input an ore, divide that by 3.5, and then multiply that by 9.4, so 2.6, 8.68 divided by...
Didn't I have this in my spreadsheet somewhere? Let me find it real
Possibly.
quick.
In your moduling spreadsheet?
Yeah, it has space consumption rate per machine.
Okay, I think we need like 88, I think, not 70 something, I believe. That's like 44 per side, that's 20, 22, 4. So let's just say if we need like 44 per side, I wonder, do we want to do... We definitely don't want that in one row.
No.
2, maybe 3 rows?
If I remember correctly, 3 rows is just about perfect to hit the edge of the machine.
Yeah, it hits the edge of the machine and just gets the chests.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yep. Now, unfortunately, that amount doesn't divide by 3 particularly well.
We don't need it perfect.
No, I'm just trying to
Remember
figure out how many actually need to go in each row.
Ah, okay. I was also going to say we can trim off the third row as well.
Yeah, tapering
Although
it.
at the same time, it needs to be. I'd prefer to be an even number than an odd number.
Yeah. Tapering it does actually really help, though, in terms of, like, bots.
That was intentional, but okay.
That was intentional? Okay.
Don't mind me then.
We're all, like, working on 3 different pages here.
Yeah, whatever. But remember, we needed a gap on
Yeah,
either the top or the bottom to make it tile correctly.
Yeah, there's a 1 tile difference.
Ew, I see what you mean, yeah.
It's not like we've never built one of these before.
No, it's not like we keep making the same mistake when we build these every time.
Of course not.
So I'm just expanding that out. So...
If we did...
Oh, I'm out of stack inserters.
If we did 20 in the first row, 15 in the second, and 10 in the back, that would actually probably work out really well. Ish. Although 15 isn't great because it's an odd number, but...
Oh, I can start expanding it out.
Yep. I'll just be a material supply.
Okay.
Well, you have
So how many was it in the first row? I've already forgotten.
Well, that's 15 that you have.
Okay.
We could just do 3 rows of 15 if you don't want to taper it.
Oh, we could always just start with 3 rows of 15 and then taper it from there.
You're not extending out the beacons, so the edge one's going to be a little bit slower, so you need 1 or 2 more anyway.
Yeah.
I think it looks better without extending the beacons, actually.
Then we'll need to take some furnaces off, right? I mean, we need all these to be full speed.
Yeah, we need to keep for UPS performance as well. You want to try and keep the machine running as fast as possible, and to keep oh, hang on, it's missing a few there. To keep the smelting up as high as it can go. Okay.
So if I yoink one off of either end of this row.
Can't help but feel like this thing's not even.
Well, it's certainly not
the
centered.
centers. Yeah, the centers here of the build. Oh wait, it was 15 wide, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an odd number if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot all the output inserters too.
7, 8.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm out of stack inserters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I think if that was 15, I just added 2 more, which makes it 17, which ain't great. Because this...
Oopsie.
Okay, so this is
Well, that's
45. That's how many we
9
need.
and 8.
Although we would need an extra beacon over here. I mean, that's the amount we need. I mean, it's tapered by 1 each time, which I guess is kind of nice. At least that part's even.
What if pulled this one off here, moved it out to here,
What about the one on this end?
and pull that one, and then put it there?
Well, that's like, but that's not even then, because then it's like tilted to one side, right?
Yeah, but it was the other one was tilted to one side already, because now there's an even number in the first and second row. Because there's an odd number overall, there has to be an odd number in it somewhere.
An extra furnace or 2 isn't going to kill us.
Then yeah, let's just stick one over here. Do 46.
Yeah, that'll do.
Dude, this is gonna drive me nuts. All right. So we can get rid of some of these beacons there. One there. Yeah. So that's 46. That's fine. Looks good.
Next step is to squeeze some power in, which I didn't quite allow for. If I was smart, I would actually put it there.
Yeah, the substations.
Oh, I hate substations and builds.
Yeah, if you ever
I
want to
love
run
it.
through them.
I actually prefer it over filling a build with medium power poles.
But if you do it right, they look so nice, actually.
Yeah, so if I just squeeze them here, I'm putting them in between. I'm setting the row of substations that I'm at now. It just hits the center of the build, and so it's the minimum it needs. In theory, I wonder if I could. I can. It just extends outside. Like so.
It's not too bad, I guess. Alright. Cleared all those. So yeah, this is the time-consuming part when you go to build your megabase. The smelters in 0.15 are pretty much going to be like the biggest part of your base typically. So this is the most time-consuming thing. Once we get this, it goes pretty fast because then we can just flip it on the top and then just stamp however many down that we need.
Yeah.
So it may seem like this is taking a while.
We can repurpose this for copper as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm actually going to end my episode there. I'm at 30 minutes.
Ooh, Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Or when you're just playing Factorio. Surprised it hasn't been like a day already.
Yeah, it is actually Friday.
7 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments for sure. We will take a look at them and try our best to answer. But we will see you next time.
See ya.
Later.